Who's that?
Hey, welcome everybody to NorCal Sports Network. The Giants are officially eliminated. What a sad franchise. I can't show my face with this hat on. I told you I wouldn't wear this hat anymore this year. And I put it on, but I can't show my face. So, welcome in, everybody, to NorCal Sports Network. Let's get the band going. Welcome, everybody. All right. Had to put the bag over the head tonight. Yeah, I had breathing. I had breathing down here, and I have some holes in here, but yeah, would have done the whole show. Would have done a brown bag, but I don't even have any brown bags.
Do they even have them anymore?
I don't know. I haven't seen them. It's kind of funny. You open brown bags. Yeah, you see the Cleveland Browns were famous for that. Remember putting the brown bags over their head, and some of the other infamous teams. But guys, I finally got to put the Orioles hat on as expected. I thought I'd wear it at least twice, but so the Giants are done. As we said, welcome in everybody. Appreciate you being here.
Is the tragic number still on the wall?
What's that? The tragic number. We've got to finish it.
Yeah, of course.
You know what? Let's bring. It's over. And we got to put Farhan in there. It is over for the Giants. I need the picture. I need to print the picture of Farhan. Maybe I'll do that. I should have done it earlier. I'll go print it during the show, and we'll put it up there and show it. We'll put the tragic Farhan. And this could be the real ending of Farhan, too. I mean, this is pretty sad. And you know what I want to get on, Lou?
Sure. Can I guess?
Go ahead, guess.
Why on a game that doesn't mean anything do you still play somebody incompetent like Walton, where you can't bunt once but twice? And the first time I understand, but the second time, all you got to do is put the ball on the bat after, tell you the truth, a bad base running where they should have scored anyway. And then, of course, what happens? They don't get the bunt down, they blow it, and then they lose it.
Yep.
That was the Giants in a nutshell the whole season.
Yes. And let me just tell you.
Let me just a whopping 118 after going 0 for 4 today.
Let me just
was
play
that what did I get close?
You nailed it. You nailed it, Donovan Walton. But before I get to Donovan Walton, let me share with you the best thing I saw today in sports. You ready for this?
Sure. Which one? I can't see which one that is. Was that the one that broke the record, or was that the one out?
No, that was the second one. That was the one that went 6 for 6. Thank you, Shohei. I love it. He's on my fantasy squad. 6 for 6, 2 stolen bases, and
3 homers, 10 RBIs. Does
10
that
RBIs,
help you
3
out?
homers. And all I can think is I got to thank Glenn. Glenn in our fantasy football league or fantasy baseball league. Thank you, Glenn, for trading me Shohei and Yamamoto and Blake Snell all in one deal. Thank you, Glenn.
I can't wait to be in your league next year. It sounds like you got a bunch of minor leaguers.
Oh my gosh, he gave me Ohtani, Yamamoto, Snell, Spencer Steer, and somebody else. And all I had to give up was Ellie De La Cruz and William Contreras and a couple of other guys.
Yamamoto was on the DL when you got him then.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah. But I got Snell, too, as a throw-in. He didn't want him. I said, I'll take him. Sure. So, yes. What a trade from
just today. That could put you back. That could put you in first.
I think it did. Yeah.
It's such a big day.
It's going to put me back in first. So, yeah, it was wonderful. So, but yeah, Shohei, let's address Shohei, but then we'll get to the Giants. Sure. Shohei, 6 for 6, 51. If you guys remember watching this show before the season started, when we made our picks, what did I say? If anybody remembers, I said Shohei's going to hit 55 home runs this year for the Dodgers.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while.
And break the all-time Dodger record because he's not pitching. He's just going to focus on hitting. And with that lineup, it's amazing. What are you going to put Ohtani on to face Betts and then Freeman? So you got to pitch to him. It's genius move. And what do we get? Let's get into this Donovan Walton crap because this isn't really Walton's fault. This isn't Walton's fault. What it is it's Farhan's fault. And I don't know if Melvin has a gun to his head to play him, but what is he doing if he doesn't? If he doesn't have a so-called, you play this guy or else, what is he playing Donovan Walton for over Marco Luciano? You're in meaningless games, and Donovan Walton is 30 years old, and he's a lifetime, 180-something hitter, whatever he is. He's not here for the future. Luciano's 23, and all as you've done is screw with this young man's head. You did the same thing with Luis Matos. You did it to Joey Bart. You did it to Elliot Ramos before that. This organization is a freaking clown show, Lou. It is an absolute clown show that is just, I don't know what to say, that it's a circus. It's an absolute and I'm laughing at you because you're a disgrace to baseball. You're playing Donovan Walton and not Marco Luciano, a former top 20 prospect in a season that has been over. You know what? Marco may not be the guy, but you better give him his at-bats. You traded Jorge Soler at the trade deadline and said, Marco's going to be our DH. Oh, he gets to play a little bit, and then he sits 9 games, and then they send him back down. Then they bring him back up, and then they send him back down. Then they bring him up on September 3rd. He's 3 for like 28 in his last since they brought him up. He's struggling. You know what? You know how you get out of that? You say, hey, kid, don't worry about it. You're playing the rest of the year. You're in the lineup every day. Just go play your game, and you'll come out of it. We believe in you. And, it is a joke that they are playing Donovan Walton, and then they bring up Mark Canha to pinch hit for Yaz.
And you saw what Canha did, huh?
Canha hits him to a double play. Yaz had 3 home runs.
First pitch, Canha.
Yeah. 3 home runs in 3 games, and he's hot. You know what you do with the hot guy? Oh, in San Francisco, we know what you do. You sit their butts down. Unbelievable. This show is a joke. What is their record now? 74 and 79. Okay. So they've got 9 games to go. An absolute joke. I don't get this. And I put this tweet out today, and I'm going to get In fact, I'm going to read this tweet along with Nick's super chat. This is just.
And Dan, while you're looking that up, I just wanted to say one thing, and I heard somebody else say it on one. I think it might have been 98.5. The Giants have not been the same since the opening day when Larry Bear's wife took his phone because he was having an affair and threw it on the floor. He has not been the same. It's amazing. You hear Larry Bear every other week on KNBR, but of course they throw him softball questions worse than Kamala that he doesn't have to answer. And all he talks about is his real estate, but he never talks really about all the Giants' problems. But, about 2 weeks ago, I told you about the deadwood I don't want back. Obviously, with you don't even want to see Walton anymore.
Oh, give me a break. Donovan Walton, I don't even understand. Why is he even on the team? Give me a break.
I have no clue either.
Another guy. Why are you playing guys? Here's my tweet, what I put out today, okay?
Sure, let's hear it. I'm sorry.
I said, the San Francisco Giants are going nowhere and continue to blow my mind with their lack of vision. They recalled Marco Luciano, their 23-year-old former top international signing and top 20 prospect in Major League Baseball on September 3rd. He has struggled to the plate going 3 for 28, but the team has nothing to play for other than let the young players develop. And what do? Question mark. They bring up 30-year-old Donovan Walton on September 13th and play him in place of Luciano because in Farhan, tuning trumps everything. They would rather play Yaz and Conforto over Luis Matos. How do you evaluate if these youngsters can play in Major League Baseball if you don't give them the opportunity when fourth place and another non-playoff appearance is sealed? Farhan has destroyed this franchise and the confidence of its top prospects for a journeyman player in Walton and older players like Yaz and Conforto. Now, I'm not, Conforto's hitting, but you know what? I have nothing against Conforto. He's just not going to be here next year. And Yaz shouldn't be starting right now. Matos should be, the outfield should simply be this: Matos, Ramos, and McRae. And you see what these kids can do. And you know what? In the offseason, they go and work on their things that they need to work on because they realize, like McRae's case, I'm striking out way too much. I need to adjust. How do you make adjustments if you can't play? Stupid idiots, man. I'm just telling you. Anyway, if you can't play your top prospects and just let them get as many at-bats as possible for their development in another losing season, when can you? And with that, we bring up Nick, who's welcome back, Nick. Good to see you in the chat. He says, thank you for the $10 donation, Nick. He says, Yaz also going on a meaningless hot streak. Yeah, it's meaningless. Once the team is out of contention, guarantees his arbitration tender. Should be Matos at bats. Everyone in baseball ops needs to be fired and thrown out by security. Absolutely. This is a joke. I'm telling you what, if Farhan is back, you know what I'm going to do?
Revolt?
You know what I'm going to do if Farhan's back?
Talk to me.
Lou?
I don't know. I'm excited. You're because you're
Lou,
not.
what am I going to do if Farhan gets fired? Doesn't get fired?
I don't know. Are you gonna? Oh no! You're gonna switch to being an A's fan? You're gonna put yourself out of the misery?
If Farhan is not fired, I'm switching to the dark side.
No. Uh-oh.
If Farhan's not fired, I'm switching over to the dark side.
Well,
how's that?
For the winner. I completely understand.
At least they want to win. How can I support a team when the ownership group can give a crap? If they don't fire Farhan, it tells me they don't care.
I completely agree. And you know what's funny today? I read Merv from KNBR wrote a thing after Ohtani did the 50-50. And he basically stated that we were pretty close on signing him. And then I texted him back. I said, are you out of your mind? First of all, we did not match that. You're drinking too much Kool-Aid. The Giants, first of all, never matched what the Dodgers said. The Giants are too dumb enough to tell the Dodgers, I mean, it's so funny. Farhan said he did the exact same deal, as well as $2 million up front and backload it so he could get more players. Farhan can't think like that. Winning organizations come up with a plan like that. So I think, and like I've been saying this for a while, everything the Giants say is BS. Everything. We are close to getting up.
Eddie.
Every time you hear anything, just disregard from the Giants. You know, it's the same thing. These idiots thought Buster was in the negotiations. He wasn't. All they did was send a text. That's all he did. Hey, what's holding it up? Tell me what it is. Let me see if I can talk to the owners to get it done. That's not negotiating. He sent a text and he got the no trade. These people, all they're doing is telling the fans lies. That's all they're doing, because they want people to know, you know, that they're trying to make an attempt. Giants aren't trying to make an attempt. They don't care about their fans. They don't care about their season ticket holders. They don't care about anything. And let me tell you something. The way the Giants are now, putting so much pressure on the young stud in AAA, knowing the Giants, he's going to get injured somehow. Hopefully he doesn't, knock on wood. But, you know, these are the Giants. They don't do anything right. Nothing. Tell me one thing they've done right since 2015. Hiring Farhan, mistake. They've had no superstars. They can't close the deal with anybody. It's ridiculous. But they did 3 million people. Well, of course, you're giving away tickets for $5, $5.01, $10 tickets.
Giovanni finally surrendered, huh?
For, usually the final 3 games of the season is a huge thing. The Willie Mack Award, and then you have, they're doing two fan appreciations. Place won't be full. They'll say there's 40,000, but the place will be empty. Who cares?
It's ridiculous. It really is. Giovanni says he's finally surrendered. Okay.
If we can only get Robert, we're moving the right direction.
Okay. We need to get the phone lines in. I'm going to go grab the, you know what? Lou, I'll be back here shortly. I got to print off the Farhan, put him, bury him. Give me about 5 minutes.
No problem.
Go to the printer. Hey, that's right, Mark. I saved Giovanni $1,000, but he would have never paid me anyway. He never would have paid me. So he won't even come in on. He won't even come on the show when I've asked him to come on the show. Invited him. He won't come on. So Lou, take over.
No problem. No problem.
Cover a little bit about the game.
Yeah, of course.
I'll be back in 4 or 5 minutes. I got to print Farhan and I got to grab the call-in phone. I'll be right back.
Well, chat, this is not the end, just the beginning. Baseball playoffs right around the corner. Obviously, we're not part of it. But, today about the Giants, again, another Webb start and the team loses. Sort of amazing, where you guys all think he's our ace, but the team loses behind him. So he has a losing season again with him starting, especially Robert. Sort of amazing. But we'll get people on there. We'll also do call. We'll do the funeral for him. But, I thought today, Giants, all they do is tease you. Giants are like, when you're a young boy and you see girls, you're going to tell them what you want to hear and vice versa. That's how the Giants were today. That was so ridiculous. I've never seen a team in the 9th inning get a run in, have runners on. You can't get the bunt down, and then you bring up someone who I've been saying is sort of a joke. Who cares if he was good with the A's 8 years ago? They bring in a new pitcher, and the first pitch doesn't even take a pitch. Is the weak grounder to second, steps on, out at first. That was absolutely the Giants baseball the whole year. Nobody ever thinks to take up. I mean, the Giants, they have so many flaws. And what's worse, guys, it's going to be worse next year. I don't really know what the Giants can do. But, this year the team total was 81.5. Once they signed Kratman and Snell, it went to 83.5. So that bet is already a victory for me. I don't think they're going to win 82 games, so I'm pretty sure I might get the other one. But, it's come to the point now where it's another year. Dan's all upset, but I think he's got to realize that maybe his favorite player that's not getting time might be a bust. And the Giants are going to have to decide either let him go or they're going to have to actually just, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at our lineup today, and I always say the dead wood, but Canna, I don't want back. Conforto, he's gone. Wisely, I don't want him. Casale, gone. Walton, gone. So there's 6 players that I don't want. And you already know I hate the 2 twin brothers. I don't like them. And we got to do something different. I mean, the Ohtani game today, what was amazing about that is we saw something that has never, ever, ever been done. And the best part is next year when he plays the Giants, he's also going to pitch. I mean, come on. And I think the biggest thing for me this whole second half of the season is the Giants played horrible baseball defensively, runners in scoring position, just basic throws from the outfield. It's like these guys have no clue how to play team ball. And it's a bunch of kids, yeah. But you know what? This is the pros. This is why you have single A, double A, triple A, high A ball. I mean, these guys can't even do the basics. We talked about it all year. How can you not get one bunt down? Twice you failed. Well, you know what? If you can't do that, then you're done. Get out of here. We don't need a 30-year-old guy batting 111 on the major league team. It's the same thing. Dan talks about the stud. Maybe the Giants should just say, hey, we got this guy in 2020. He's not good defensively. We can't find a position for him. He can't hit the slider, and move on. Got to move on. I mean, the Giants, I'm just looking at these averages. Yaz, who's had a great maybe week, 234. 234, making $9 million, a disgrace. Wade, 264, but he was, at one time 320. I've sort of over him a little bit. Conforto, he's gone. Patrick Bailey, 233. Oh, he just horrible second half. Casale, I don't even want him. People, if you guys remember, he was in the minor leagues when we got him. Walton gone. Schmidt, got to give him a little time because he's still young. It's really only been 2 teams. But yeah, this team fundamentally is so flawed. I mean, how they talk about the 5 tools of a baseball player? The Giants put your whole team together, can't do the 5 tools. That's pathetic. It's absolutely for what the Giants have. I mean, we're the San Francisco Giants. We have more money than anybody. But you know what? It's bad. And a lot of these guys, and what's worse, it got worse the second half. We never improved. I'm not sure what to say. The pitching staff, Walker, they finally got to him today, but I'm not a fan of Rogers. Webb's only pitching to see if he can get to 200 innings. Knowing the Giants and Webb, he's going to pitch one more, watch him get hurt or something. That's just typical of the Giants. But Conforto, power, you guys are talking about Yaz and Conforto doing power. I mean, nobody on this team is going to have 25 bombs. We have nobody that can hit 80 RBIs. But, that's just me. What I want to do until Dan gets back, tell me the 3 guys that you do not want back that have been playing a lot. Give me your 3 guys that you do not want to see next year. They've gone up to here with you with just problems. H squared, I agree. Yasser Conforto, $27 million, poorly spent. Spent $27 million on a stud. I'm just going through some of the chat. Farhan in the hospital. No, he was back 2 days ago. But we need power. But again, Giants don't go after power. We go after guys that might have had power, 25 years ago. It's ridiculous, the people we get. I don't know where Robert is. Robbo, Rothberg the whole season. We have the best pitching staff. Webb's the best, guaranteed. Robert, you got to show up through thick and thin. If you're going to talk a good game, you got to be here when your boy Webb can't pitch again. I think how big he had 41 pitches again in an inning. That's not an ace. Remember, the Orioles were 5 and 20 in their last 25. All he has to do is show up, make his pitches, and the Giants get a win. He didn't. Okay, so Mr. Tanner, Yaz, you want gone, Wade and Wisely. Good three. Melvin, all right, I like it. 8 squared, I love these. Melvin, Farhan, and Kratman. You want those 3 to be gone. I like it. We got to get rid of people. Why bring them back another year when the last 2 years we didn't win with them? I don't understand. We're getting cheap and we're bringing these guys back for no reason. I think the fans deserve more. I'm just seeing. Mark Rothberg always thinks Webb. He thinks Webb. He probably thinks Webb deserves Cy Young this year. Again, guys, last year the National League pitching was bad. Okay, if you saw Webb's stats, he didn't even have a winning record, and he was still second in ERA. That tells you how bad it is. But Giovanni, for the record, you surrendered before Robert. I think a lot of us did. I went to, after we had the raffle, I still went to 2 more games, and boy, it was brutal to go, I'm just reading. First of all, guys, what did you think about Ohtani's thing? Pretty incredible, huh? I think it's the best thing for baseball. Next year, the Giants play the Dodgers on 2 weekends. So if you're going to do anything, try to see a superstar because we don't have any. And the great thing is next year you get to see him pitch and another 6 years. 6 years we're going to have to go against Ohtani. So it's going to be crazy. Once Dan gets back, guys, we'll have callers and you can come on the stream and get on here and tell us what you guys think. But I think, for me, you guys know who I don't want back. It's, one of those things. Nick, Nick, I put you on, but I can't because I don't have technology to do it. So I apologize.
Yeah, I think I'm good to go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you. And are you on? And until Dan does something.
No, that's I don't like showing my photo.
I can barely hear you. Say it again.
Okay. Yeah, I choose to not show my face. So
okay.
But you can hear me all right.
Nick, why don't you tell us what you think and while you're calling, let us hear what you want to talk about.
Well, I don't know where to start, but I think a better question. It's not 3 Giants you want to see gone. You might have the better question might be what 3 Giants do you want back?
Good point.
Think about this. So this team has been out of it since the Braves series for all intents and purposes. Okay. When they lost 3 out of 4 to the Braves.
Correct.
And even if you're the
end of the month, sure. End of August, sure.
But even if you want to be the eternal optimist, they were surely out at the beginning of the month of September.
Oh, I tell you the truth, I thought they were out of it the day after the trade deadline.
So
when he basically Farhan admitted, hey, we're going to do something different. When he gave up Solar, who was literally our best player at the time, he gave up another pitcher, which of course came back and haunted him, and he got no bats. I don't know how Farhan thought with our lineup and the way we have so many problems with health, he thought we were going to last. You know, again, you can have pitching, but the pitching wasn't really the super big problem. It was runners in scoring position, hitting in the clutch. And Farhan never went in, never did anything about it. Now, being a general manager, it's tough because I don't know who we could have gave up to get any of these batters. You know, that's something, you know, I don't know all that stuff with the contracts and upper management, but this is now the second straight year where he didn't do anything. And one of the things I've been talking about since 2015, we only have one winning record in the second half of the season. So you got to do something. But please go ahead. I'm sorry about that. I was sort of rambling on, but you're telling me what 3 players should you want? Well, tell me who you think on the Giants. Obviously, Chapman's going to be back. Who would you want to bring back of this whole staff, either pitching wise or offense?
Well, I think here's the thing. I'd start with all of the young players on the cost controlled contracts. So Ramos is an obvious yes.
Okay.
McRae should be competing for a job. He strikes out too much, so I don't think he's a starter. But he's a good 4th outfielder because he has defense and speed. And now then you're kind of drawing a blank. Like obviously Bailey will be back.
Bailey will be back because we have nobody else.
Nobody else, and because he doesn't make any money, so that's fine. Great job. Chapman is back because they re-signed him. Here's a problem. The Giants have no shortstops. And I'm talking minor leagues too. I can't think of an organization that has as little shortstop depth as the Giants. And
agreed.
I think that's why they kept Luciano at short for so long, because there's nobody else in the minor leagues. There's a couple guys that can play shortstop, but they can't hit. Or
let me ask you a question. Do you think Luciano just could be a bust?
I think it's trending that way, but I also
it's been 4 years, and I know a lot of the people in the chat when you watch on TV, his hitting's not that great, and you know he is sort of lost out there in the field.
Yeah, I think
I'm just throwing that out there.
I think here's the thing. There's some nuance involved with the Luciano thing. Luciano, when he got a lot of hype, it's because he got the big bonus out of international, and he had a very good debut season. He was hitting the ball, and I know not everyone likes the exit velocity stuff, but he was hitting the ball when he was 18 years old. He was hitting the ball harder than major leaguers, so that's why there was a lot of optimism surrounding him. He is not hitting the ball as hard. Like even in AAA this year, he has not had we have not seen the same power that he had a couple years ago. Okay. So I'm wondering if the back injury has caused and the other thing is, again, I know not everyone likes the metrics, but the bat speed, if the bat speed metrics for him are not, this guy used to have incredible bat speed, but this year he is far below major league average for bat speed. So I'm wondering, did the Giants tweak his swing because they didn't like the strikeouts in the minor leagues? Or is it the back injury? Or is it a combination of the two? But as it stands now, he does not have the same light tower power that he had 2 or 3 years ago. And because he is not a shortstop, and in my opinion, I don't think he's a second baseman either, then you're not looking at an impact player, you know?
Mm-hmm. Dan, this is Nick. Nick wanted
I recognize.
He was talking about Luciano's problems besides confidence. Sort of like, here's a guy in 2020 that was a new sensation, and now he's not getting playing time. He's making errors in the field, can't hit the slider.
But I want to say too, having said all of that, that's still no excuse for not playing him. Like the season, I don't understand. Here's the thing. I have no idea. Like the season is over, Melvin. And I don't know, like Dan said, I don't know if it's Melvin or the front office, but if Farhan's in the goddamn hospital, then then it's on Melvin. Why are you playing the 30-year-old journeyman? Like, they didn't even pinch hit Luciano when it was a lefty. They left even with the stupid ass platoons they do, they still didn't let Luciano pinch hit against the lefty today. So what are we doing? And you do the same thing with Matos.
Yeah.
Again, Matos, we don't know. Maybe he's a bust. That's true. Like, he has some issues. He's not a perfect player. But the season is over. So why are you playing Yastrzemski, who, like, anybody could have predicted this? Like, of course, once the Giants are out of contention, Yastrzemski will go on this meaningless fucking hot streak. And then he's going to guarantee an arbitration tender where he gets $12 million next year. And we still have no further answers on Matos. The season is over. I don't care if it hurts their pride or what. You bench Yastrzemski, you bench Conforto, and honestly, I would even tell Chapman, hey, take the rest of the year off, bro.
Absolutely.
Let's watch Casey Schmidt. Like, the season's over. We just signed you to a 6-year deal. We know what you are. We don't have any questions about you.
Enjoy your baby. Enjoy your baby.
Yeah, go enjoy fatherhood. Let's play Casey Schmidt. Like, why are we not watching the game? I don't understand this. Like the season's over. This is when you want to see the young players.
Isn't it amazing, Nick? It's absolutely amazing. I posted last night about Schmidt, all the great plays he made. And, sadly, the Giants knew all this, and yet they signed Chapman to 6 years. Now you've made basically Schmidt has to find a new position if he's ever going to play, or he's going to get traded and he's going to shine as a third base. I'm telling you, if Casey Schmidt is allowed to play third base for some team, he's going to become a Gold Glove third baseman.
Well, and the other thing is Schmidt, he's actually shown, like, people don't want to admit, a lot of people think he stinks at the plate. Now, I agree that he has some swing and miss issues, but he has actually hit for power when he's been up here. The batting average isn't great, but he has 5 home runs. He's got some doubles. He's not a total zero at the plate like everyone claims. And
right.
And he could get better too.
You know what, Nick? And I think you probably agree with this. I put this out yesterday. It's interesting that he got the big base hit last night with, drove in 2 playing third base. When you're playing at your normal natural position, you're using less mental energy in the field. And you are much better at the plate because you can go up there. You're not exhausted. When you're learning shortstop and second base, everything you're doing is not natural because you're having to think, okay, when he plays third base, doesn't he look like a natural there? I mean, did you see him yesterday? A routine ground ball to shortstop, but he charged and he got it and took it and spun and threw him out the guy by 20 feet.
That's what I've been saying. They tank everyone's development. The only reason they played Schmidt at shortstop was both last year and this year. They don't have anyone who can play shortstop, so they play him out of position and they tank his development. Yep. Like, how? I don't understand. We're 6 years into this. How have you not built up shortstop depth?
I think Nick brings up a good point. The Giants might have really dropped the ball when Crawford's last year. There were 4 great shortstops out.
Seager, Turner, who else?
But I agree with that. But even like drafting and develop, like, you haven't drafted anyone who can play shortstop yet. They took the last year in the draft. They took Maui Ahuna from University of Tennessee.
Or
and he played in San Jose this year, striking out at a 35% clip. So you have drafted so poorly. Like, I can't stress this enough. Like, I don't know who's in charge of the draft. Farhan, Michael Holmes. You have botched the draft almost every year. Let's look at 2021, the one year they had when they won 107 games. They took Will Bednar and Matt Mikulski with their first 2 picks. Mikulski has an ERA of 6 in high A. He's going to get released at the end of the season because he sucks. Will Bednar is now looking like a reliever only. You took a reliever with the 14th pick in the draft. Like, what?
Hey, can I ask you a question, Nick? Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay, I'm going to put a comment up here, and I want you to comment on this because I've had enough of this guy. Here, what do you think of this?
He could be a Gold Glover at third. He's very good at third.
I mean, have you watched him, Giovanni? Just watch the guy. He made like 4 stellar plays last night. He dove and stopped. He saved a run. There's your WAR, guys. He saved a run on a diving stop that was in foul territory, and he was 12 feet off the bag before the ball was pitched. I don't even know if Chapman gets to that ball. Seriously. So
he hit. See, a lot of these young, and I'm young too, kind of, but these young, like these punk fans, you know who I'm talking about. Like Giovanni, I think probably fits this bill. I don't know him or how old he is, but they want to talk bad about the young play. Like they get their kicks at, bashing the youngsters, but they totally accept the mediocrity and the subpar play of all of these waiver wire, quad A trash, the trash heap. Schmidt, the thing is, if you know what you're talking about, like, yeah, Schmidt has had some poor fielding metrics, but that's been out of position at short. He's not a shortstop. I never agreed with putting him at shortstop. I mean, maybe, once a week kind of thing. Like if you're like, that would be one thing, but they tried to make him a shortstop because, like I said, they have no shortstop depth.
Exactly. And
6 years in, they have not found a shortstop.
Not a shortstop either. He's not an everyday shortstop, Fitzgerald.
He's not. Yeah, I think he would be good at second base, but shortstop is asking a little too much. I think Fitzgerald is, to me, he's more of a. I know some people have used the Chris Taylor comp. I kind of like that one. Ben Zobrist, although he's not a switch hitter, he's a super utility guy, and he could be very good at that.
That's exactly what I have him pegged for. Super utility. Chris Taylor, so I think, but this, this whole Chapman thing, I want you to speak to the fans. Maybe when I was away, you already did, but I was against the 6 years of Chapman. In fact, I'm personally, look, Chapman is an excellent ball player defensively. He's a good base runner. He's a good clubhouse leader. He plays every day. Those are all very valuable traits. But to build a team around him, if they're not going to get a couple of star players in the line,
he's not a carrier.
He's not a carrier. Look, he's had 90 RBIs once in his career, and that was like 2019, I believe it was. That's the only time he's actually gone over 80 RBIs in his career. He's only hit over 250 once in his career. I think Chapman, I don't mind having him, but I personally would have preferred that they'd given Casey Schmidt a shot all last year at third base. And especially the second half when, just when you were failing as a team and you were just going nowhere, they didn't get a chance to see him. He made adjustments.
Playing JD Davis.
Yeah, he made adjustments. And, I mean, I hear you, Aaron. Chapman's the least of the team's problems. But the issue is they look at Chapman as the guy to build around.
Like a savior.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Here's my thoughts. People forget Chapman is, I think he's going to be 31 if he's not 32. Already.
He's going to be 32 in April.
So he's going to be 32 at the start of next season.
You're correct.
So you're trying to, this is the problem. You're trying to build the team around a 32-year-old that has a pretty massive hole in his swing. Like, I understand that he has a really high WAR this year. And for all the people that think WAR is everything, like, a lot of that is fielding metrics that are extremely subjective. Now, we know Chapman is very, very good at third. So I'll even buy that he's been an elite third baseman this year, despite some of his warts at the plate. Here's the problem. I don't mind the Chapman deal if, and this is a big if the team stops being cheap and actually goes, Steve Cohen mode and starts signing people and, acting like an organization that wants to win. Because if you want to or even a better comparison would be Texas Rangers. Like, remember the Rangers signed Seager and Simeon and they just threw all this DeGrom. They threw all this cash, and they're like, we're tired of this. Let's just get some carriers and start playing ball. If they do that, then I don't mind Chapman as much because he is fine and he is a good clubhouse guy and he is I could buy the argument that he's good for the culture and all of that. But if they go into next season with Chapman and, they try to sign like, I don't know, Santander or some other, okay free agent, like that's not going to be good enough. And you're going to be right where you started. And then you're going to have an albatross contract in 3 or 4 years, if not sooner.
Yes, exactly.
So if you have an actual plan to contend in the next 2 seasons, then I'm fine with it. But I don't think they will.
Why not go out and get those stars and then sign Chapman to the 6-year $150 deal? Let him test the market, go out aggressively in week 1 of free agency, get your guys and tell Chapman, look, we want you back, but and we're willing to give you this number while you have him, but we've got to make sure we can go get the guys to build around, to have with you, to have, so you have support. If we bring back the same club, we're a 4th place team again,
and maybe worse.
Exactly. I don't understand the putting the cart before the horse. I understand. Okay, we want to get Chapman. We want to secure him. We got him in house. Let's get him. But you have a history of not landing stars.
Yeah, and there's not many stars except for Soto, right?
Yeah, my deal
I would consider Adames. Like Adames would be
is
a nice
the guy.
get.
Yeah, Adames is the guy I want to go get in free agency. And then last night I suggested they go after and trade for Kyle Tucker. And Tucker's going to be a free agent. Alex Bregman's leaving Houston. You could offer Schmidt, Matos, and maybe a Wisenhunt, and that should be enough to try and lure and get a Kyle Tucker, and then try and sign him once you get him here.
So Tucker has 1 more year of control. Is that what you're saying?
1 year. This is going next year is his last year before he enters free agency.
Well, here's the problem. If they've tanked the value of these prospects, like Matos, that probably would have been enough before the season, but they have mishandled Matos so badly and yo-yoed him, and now everyone will just look at his stats and think he sucks. But he's still only 22. But the problem is when you yo-yo these guys and, you had a bad week, so we're sending you down, and, you're coming back up, but you're only going to hit against lefties. And then, we got to play stupid ass Mark Canha. Like, what the, what, like, dude, they've handled Luciano badly, but I think they've handled Matos worse. Like, this is a joke. It's a joke.
I don't know what their mindset is.
The problem is, I don't think, you place a phone call to the Astros. They've ruined the value of these young players. Ruined it. They
Correct.
Probably laugh. Wisenhunt has had a poor season in AAA. Here's another thing that I've been kind of pissed off about that's kind of off the beaten path. But why are you have Trevor McDonald on the 40. He's one of the few pitchers in the Giants system that actually has 3 to 4 above average pitches. He has very good command, unlike Birdsong. But you decide to call up Mason Suck, who we know what Mason Suck is. He's 91 with not much else down the middle. And you're just letting McDonald waste in AAA when he's on the 40 and he could have made some starts. We could have gotten an evaluation on him at the big league level. But this September has pissed me off more than the entire season, to be honest with you, because we're in September. We are out of the playoffs. We've been out of the playoffs for a long time, and you're not playing Matos. You're not playing Luciano, and you're not playing McDonald. And even Wisenhunt, I mean, he's had a poor season, but why not add him to the 40 and remove one of these other useless bums like Kai Tang and see what Whisenhunt has. You've done zero evaluation of your top prospects in the month of September when you are out of the race. So, and here's, I know I'm rambling, but last point on this. Where are the beat writers? Baggerly, Pavlovich, Slusser? Why are you not demanding answers on why this is going on? Why are you not demanding to know, hey, Bob, you're out of the race.
Payroll.
Why are you not playing the young people? And why are you giving at bats to Donnie Walton, Mark Canha, Mike Yastrzemski, Michael Conforto, Lamont Wade? Like, come on, Wade? Dude, haven't we seen enough of Wade? I've seen enough of Wade.
I love, George, I know you're probably right on that, but you know what? I still wouldn't have signed Chapman before getting anybody else. But here's a trade, Nick. I just increased this trade from what I did last night. Last night, I had Reggie Crawford, Casey Schmidt, and Luis Matos. This is almost doubling the numbers here. Take a look at this trade as I bring it up here on the board. It's a 4-for-1 trade. There it is. Okay. You see the value of Tucker is only 20.5 because
of only 1 year. Yeah.
Because of 1 year. But look at Matos is still a 15 because of his age and potential. Whisenhunt, James Tibbs. I'm not going to worry about James Tibbs. He's 3-4 years away, and he was a
bad pick. He has no athleticism. He's got limited, in my opinion, power. You know who Tibbs reminds me of? Pavin Smith on the Diamondbacks, who has not met expectations. No, he's going to be a big leaguer, in my opinion, but he's not an impact big leaguer. So I would have zero.
Why not try and trade him now as a number one
before his value tanks? Yeah, that's smart, because the Giants, they clearly have no idea how to develop talent anyway.
Right. So. I mean, Matos was a 33 to start the season. His values dropped almost 60%.
Insane. Yeah. And it's probably even lower. I mean, within the front offices, they probably ruined it even farther.
Yeah. But that, some team might look at them and say, we can develop him. We can adjust some of his things.
But I can tell you this: if I was a team, if I was the GM of like a small market, like say if I was the GM of the Rays or some small market team like that, I don't know, even like, let's say the White Sox. The White Sox have nothing. If I was the GM of a bad team in a small market, I would be dying to get my hands on some of the Giants prospects that have been ruined by the clown show front office, because there are still tools here. Like, we know Matos, he has insane bat to ball skills, like in an era where everyone strikes out.
Yeah, he's only about 10-11% strikeout rate, where the rest, Nick, I know you've been busy and stuff. We did a deal about a week ago. We looked up every player on the Giants starting lineup. Every one of them had a K rate of over 20%, some over 30. And then we looked at every team in the National League West. Besides forgetting the Rockies, the Dodgers, Padres, and Diamondbacks had several of their players in the teens to low teens. And that's why the Giants' problem is they can't score with runners in scoring position because they make a ton of unproductive outs, too many Ks, and then a pop-up, and they're out of the inning. Second and third, nobody out, and they can't score because two guys strike out.
Yeah, they built the team this way, like, the free agent acquisitions and the way that they coach, like they're trying to, do the Oakland A's thing of let's get in a good count and drive a pitch.
It's ridiculous. How about hit the pitch that's over the plate and drive it to, Luis Arias? He doesn't go up there looking constantly like, I'm only going to swing if it's in my zone. His zone is anything on the plate, off the plate. If it's outside, he's going to punch it into left field. And if it's inside, he's going to hit the ball somewhere. The Giants have nobody like that. Maybe Jung-Hoo Lee can be their contact guy, but they need a minimum of 4 guys that can.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's okay to have a couple power guys in the lineup that strike out. That's fine.
Right.
But you can't have the whole lineup like that.
Yeah, you got to have 4 guys that make contact, and 2 or 3 guys that are your power guys that strike out 25% or to 30, but they have power, and then a couple guys down at the bottom of the order that are whatever, but it's like the Padres and Diamondbacks and Dodgers, their top 7. It's like there's nobody on the Giants, I don't think, that even starts on those teams, except maybe Ramos could would start, but I don't see. Chapman would be, well, he wouldn't play third base over Machado.
Nope.
He wouldn't play third base over Eugenio Suarez this year.
Suarez I think he would, but
probably defensively.
Think. Yeah.
Defensively, yeah, I guess so. And then I don't know about Muncy. I don't know how they would look at that. But I think the Dodgers would make room for Chapman because he would fit their lineup perfectly.
He'd be perfect on the Dodgers or the Yankees because he would be batting 7th.
Correct. And then he could save them runs defensively. And
then that's when you would really appreciate the defense and the little intangibles. Sure.
Right.
But we'll see what they do.
Excellent on the Dodgers, yeah.
They got to fire Farhan because, and that's what I was saying in my super chat. Like, it can't just be Farhan, like, because he was in the hospital and this team is they're playing Donnie Walton. So my thing is, like, you need to go to the entire baseball operations team and say, pack your shit. You're done. Get the hell out of here. You have no idea what you're doing. You have ruined the value and the development of multiple prospects. You do not have a clue. Pack your shit and get out. And I would do the same thing with the scouts and the scouting department because they have badly drafted. They have whiffed on the draft so poorly. What do you have? You have Bryce Eldridge is the one. Even Patrick Bailey, he's fallen apart 2 years in a row. You drafted Mike Matheny with the 13th pick in the draft, and you want to throw a parade?
As I predicted, when Bailey was hitting 300 this year and everybody was saying, oh, he's the all-star, I said, he will hit 240 or less when the season's done. Mark my words. And everybody says, no, Dan, you're off. Just wait.
Well, that's what I don't get. They want to throw a parade, but you have all of these players, Chapman included. Bailey is a good defensive catcher for the most part. When he's not, he needs to get better at blocking and he needs to get a little more accurate with his throws. But he's a great framer. Let's just say he's a great defensive catcher, but he can't hit. So you drafted Mike Matheny with the 13th pick in the draft. That's not good enough. I'm sorry. That's not good enough. Like, that's not a carrier. Like, that's a nice piece.
Your first draft pick's got to be stars.
You got to, it'd be okay if it was in the back of the first round, maybe. But
right.
Your second draft, the COVID draft, I understand it was a tough draft. It was the COVID draft. But it's not just him. Let's look at Kyle Harrison. Again, another guy they've ruined. This guy had ace stuff 2 years ago. Now he looks like a 5th starter at best. There's so many of these players that are just tracked. Like,
what did they do did they change his curveball, Harrison's?
I saw Harrison in San Jose in 21, his first pro season, he was throwing a slider.
Okay.
And then I didn't see him live in 22. 22 was his best season. But we obviously saw the highlights and the Twitter clips of him, and he was throwing the same slider. For some reason, last year, when he was in AAA, he was having trouble throwing strikes. I think they overreacted to that because he was dealing with the ABS system.
Right.
So I think they really overreacted. They were convinced that he couldn't throw the slider for strikes. So they had him tweak the breaking ball to this weak little slurve that you see now.
Right.
But it's not a put away pitch, and that's what he needs. The slider was a put away pitch.
Yeah, and then it made the fastball a little bit more.
Yeah, they could sit fast. And the other thing is now the fastball is not as good as it was 2 years ago either. So
why do you think the fastball is not as good and is not as high velocity?
That's a question for him. Like, to me,
you think it's that shoulder? You think it's the shoulder?
It's hard to say, but I told this to a buddy of mine. To me, and this might sound harsh, but it has never been easier in the history of baseball to attain velocity with all of these performance, like all of these performance facilities and everything, like
drive line and all that.
Line, all of these places. It has never been easier with all of the tech and the data to attain velocity. So it could be like, some guys do run hot. And I think that may have been what happened in 22. Like, sometimes you just have a really good fastball for a little while. And that may have, I don't think he was throwing 97. I don't think he's 97, but he does need to be 94, 95. He can't be 91, 92. So It's on him. And I think he said as much. He's got great makeup still. I'm not out on him. He was really down in the dumps in his last interview. Like, it's on him. You got to go to a performance facility this off season, and you got to find 94 again. Like, that's your job. Like, you're a big leaguer. We saw Bumgarner go through this. I don't know if anyone remembers before the World Series season. Bumgarner had a very poor 2009. He got a cup of coffee in the big leagues. There were a lot of people worried about Bumgarner because he was throwing 88 to 89. But then the next year, the World Series year, he came up in the second half of the season, and we saw the 92 to 94, and then he never looked back, and he became a Giants legend. So it's not the end of the world, but I will say, if we're in spring training next year and he's 91, 92, maybe not spring training. Spring training isn't the best, but if we're in the season next year and he has not found 94, 95, he's a fit starter. And so I might be looking to trade him this offseason, but you would also be trading him when his value is at its lowest. So it's kind of a gamble where you're like, is he going to get back to where he was? Or is he never going to find it again? That's what they have to decide. But yeah, it's tough. I still like Harrison because I do think we tend to overlook makeup, and he does have 80 grade makeup. He's a competitive bulldog. So if I was a betting man, I would bet on him to figure it out. But it wasn't a good season from him. Like, we'll be honest about that. I think he would tell you that too. It has not been good for him.
Yeah, and they better not make the mistake of bringing Jordan Hicks back as a starter. He's not a starter. And they're going to do the same thing to him next year. If they make him a starter, he'll flame out, and he will be useless because he's much more effective. When a guy throws 103 and then he has to pace himself because he's tired, and he admitted he was tired.
And people act like he only lost the velocity at the end. He lost the velocity like 4 or 5 starts in.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was sitting 96, 97 at the beginning of the year, which was okay. That's good. But I would say early May is when we started to see him go 91, 92. And then he's a weird guy, man. He was saying like, oh, I don't really care. The sinker plays no matter what. Like, what do you mean it doesn't matter? What do you mean? Dude, you're not getting the whiffs you were.
Just put him in the bullpen as the 8th inning guy. Have a great back end. Walker the closer. Hicks, if you can fix Duvall, I don't know if you can in this organization because they screwed with him. I thought, when I thought they screwed with Duvall? When they put him in to pitch when they're like up 10 to nothing. And he just went out there nonchalant, like, I'm not into this game because I'm not, and then he got rocked, and then he started getting in his head. I think he got a little upset with the management that, look, you're using me in situations. He was all pumped up this year. He had his intro and all that. And then, also there's something going on with his head. And
well, he's not. And he to me, even last year, he was an all-star last year. He's got great stuff, but I've never thought he has the command to be a lockdown closer. I think I think we saw this year he doesn't really have the mental fortitude either. Remember in the playoff series against the Dodgers, he's facing Cody Bellinger and he just keeps throwing sliders. Like, dude, Bellinger that year couldn't hit a fastball to save his life.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. It's the one thing I love Buster. My dog's named after Buster. It's the one thing that I still to this day don't understand why Buster didn't just call timeout and said, listen, I'm calling the pitches. You throw what I call. Throw this dude a fastball up above the letters. He will swing and chase and miss it. He
just sped up his bat and they lost the game 5.
Yep.
I mean, that doesn't have too much to do with what's going on now, but it does kind of speak to me that he has a tendency to really fall in love with the slider. It's a good pitch, but it's not Rob Nen slider. So, and right. I think your fastball is better. But the other problem he has is he doesn't command the fastball great either. I don't think he's a closer. I think he is useful. He's going to be arbitration eligible. I don't expect he'll get too much, maybe like $2 million. That's fine. I would bring him back and see if he can, slot in the 7th inning, maybe 8th inning, if he picks it up a little. But he's just another example of a player trending downward under this organization. Like, how many do we count at this point? How many players are trending downward right now? It's crazy to me. There's nobody trending upward.
Right.
Even Ramos, like, he's had a pretty cold second half. I think he's tired, which is expected. I still love Ramos and his outlook. But how many players are like, oh, wow, he's really trending upward? Eldridge and who? Like, the whole team is trending downward. Like, what is and I think either you or Lou mentioned it, the record in the second half. This has been a problem forever. This team craters in the second half. I used to remember Brandon Crawford and how he would just go into the tank in the second half. And I think this even goes beyond Farhan. This has been happening forever. Like, why does this team just forget how to play?
Well, look at this 2016 season. They were 57 and 35 at the All-Star break, and they struggled.
Like, do they not train properly? Like, you're supposed to get better in the second half. You're not supposed to crater.
They run out of gas.
Brandon Crawford, I mean, he was having like all-star seasons. He'd have like an 800 OPS in the first half, Gold Glove defense at short, and then he just wasn't the same player in the second half.
Yeah, it's tough.
They got to figure out the Bailey thing too, and this Bailey thing is a problem to me because he was so bad as a hitter in the second half this year. Like, it's not even Mike Matheny. Like, you're putting an automatic out in the lineup every day. No matter how good you are at defense, that is unacceptable. Now, do I think that he was hitting a little over his head in the first half and there was some expected regression? Yes. And I think, like you said, he's not going to hit 270.
Well, you know what I would rather see with Bailey is I'd rather see a 240 hitter that hits around 240 all year.
Yeah.
Not 300 and then 080.
Actually, I mean, to me, I'm a little higher on the bat than most because he has a
nice swing.
Flat line drive stroke.
He does.
So, like, last year, I didn't understand why and even in the minors, like he never hit in the minors either. I've never understood why he doesn't perform better at the plate. And then this year I thought, oh, he's figured it out. He's hitting line drives to the gap. You know, he doesn't have great power, but to me, he should be a guy like I don't think he's a 20 home run hitter, but he should be in the 10 to 15 range, in my opinion, with, 30 doubles or so, maybe a little less. But second half, he just becomes a walking out. And that can't happen again, because if that happens again, then he's not the future at the position. I'm sorry.
Correct. Okay, we had a little problems with the me getting the thing on the printer. I've got it on the printer. I'll be back in a couple minutes for the coffin for Farhan. So Lou, take over. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, Nick, everything you said makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, based on the Chapman signing, like it looks like it's going to be another year of compete or trying to compete. But my biggest thing this whole time is you got to pick a lane. You can't put one foot in. And
I know we've been saying that there's no direction on this team at all.
So,
and if the Giants would have done this last year, we would have been a year ahead of the game. Instead, the last 2 years, next year, we basically, I don't want the same team, you got to remember, we're fourth in the NL West. The other teams are younger, going to spend money. It'll be very interesting in the playoffs because I think San Diego is very dangerous. But we don't compete with the three teams just alone in our division, let alone the National League. And that's a big problem. We have a bunch, as I call them, C+ players, where every other team has a few aces, a few B players, and we're just not that good. We're good at times. We're just not good for the whole 162 game, year. And I've been saying that for a while. Since 2016, we've only had one winning record in the second half. And that was 2021. It's so frustrating. And
they need stars, because I think what happens is when they go through these ruts where they can't score, it wouldn't be as prolonged or as dreadful if you had stars to carry you for a while.
Yeah, today was an example. The Giants were 1 for 9 in runners in scoring position. Schmidt was the only one that came through, but still 1 for 9, and they had so many chances. That ninth inning was literally like the whole second half of the season. The Giants are really the only team to get, a double with runners at first and third and only one scores, and I don't know how many times this year the Giants have had it where they've had a runner at third with no outs. And I think they've only scored like 23% of the time. And the league average with no outs, a runner at third is like 45. All you need is maybe out of the probably 50 times the Giants didn't come through, you come through 1/3 of the time. That's 15 times out of 50, right? 30% more. That at least is another 10 wins. And the Giants are battling for, a wild card instead of, 2 weeks away, they'll be golfing. And again, I think the other thing is you bring up a great point about Harrison. He came in with very high expectations, but if the Giants do trade Harrison, like you recommended, who do we have that can replace him?
Well, I think they
I think it's great that we want to trade him. But do we have somebody in the farm system that can step in? It's because we already know we're going to lose Snell. So we already need someone that's going to replace Snell. So now you're talking about of your starting 5, possibly losing 2 of your starting 5. That means you need 2 more guys to replace. That's what's going to be difficult.
I do like some of the arms in the Giants system. I think Landon Roop. He deserves a chance to be in the rotation next year. because
But don't you think he's more like a 4 or 5?
Oh yeah, you can't bank on him like this, like they did this year. You can't bank on him to be, the number 2 behind Webb. But I do think he is an option, and I think he deserves to be the 5th starter. I think McDonald is good depth. That's why I wanted to see McDonald. I don't understand why they don't, option Mason Suck, bring up McDonald for the last 2 starts, or maybe it's only 1 at this point, but I wanted to see him.
I'm unfamiliar with McDonald. Is he on our 40 man?
He is on the 40. He was added on the 40 last off season. Like I was saying, he battled some injuries this year. He's kind of battled injuries his entire pro career, but this was he was taken in Farhan's first draft. He was the 11th round pick in 2019, but they gave him a big bonus. So they kind of paid him 3rd or 4th round money. Like he was a high school pick. But he's he differed. He's not like most of the Giants aren't like, they have so many of these guys like Keaton Wynn, who only has 1 pitch
that are basically the same. I agree.
Mason Suck, but McDonald has 3 pitches that are above average. He's got a good sinker, a good curveball, and a good changeup, and he's got command to both sides of the plate. So I don't think he's an ace, but if you give this guy a chance, he could be a good number 3 or a number 4. So I don't understand why, and that's valuable. Like, I know that doesn't sound exciting, but that isn't, like, look at what happened this year when you're pitching Dalton Jeffries. Like, if you have a homegrown number 3 or number 4, that's really valuable. So I don't understand why they don't give him a shot. But yeah, I mean, the Harrison thing is just an idea. I'm not saying I would. Like I would.
No, I mean, all I heard is how great Harrison was. That's all I heard for 2 years. This guy's the next Mad Bum. He didn't impress me that much. He's very inconsistent. You got to remember early in the year when he was pitching, he hit like 4 guys in 5 games. Do you remember that? It got to a point where he has no control. He lost confidence.
He misses.
And these Giants pitchers this year, except for Webb, who had a few problems. They would all pitch. I think their ERA, our starting pitching staff ERA in the 4th and 5th inning was like 6, worse than most teams' first innings. We'd get tired. Again, that all becomes the pitching, the coaches to get them ready for the game. I don't know why, and I brought this up to Dan a lot. Dan, when our starting pitchers hit the 4th and 5th inning, our ERA was like 6. They would get rocked. They would hit a wall.
You know why that is? It's because they've been doing this stupid ass pitch count thing in the minors where they do the piggyback system. So they did that. They did this with Harrison last year. Remember last year, Harrison
they wouldn't let him pitch over
60 pitches.
80, yes, for a while. Yeah, I think the most he ever pitched was like 70 for a while, and then
77.
It's. I just don't understand their mindset.
And then remember last year they brought him up. And then all of a sudden, after doing that with him the whole year, Kapler leaves him in for like 100. Kapler was trying to save his job and leaving Harrison in there for like 90 plus after he hadn't thrown over 77 the whole year. The organization's a clown show. They don't know what they're doing. I think I heard what Farhan last year, they asked him about it on the radio, surprisingly, like, why are you doing this with all your minor league pitchers? And he said something like, oh, well, the research indicates that it's going to prevent injuries. Well, how did that work for Harrison this year, stupid ass? Yeah. You stupid idiot.
Yep, very much so. And speaking of idiot, we have the burial, the official tragic number. He is in the coffin. Farhan has been put in the coffin as the Giants season has come to a tragic ending once again. Farhan Zaidi, your executive of the year, there he is, 1 winning season in 6. And there shouldn't even be a discussion right now going on. This is how weak the franchise is, the ownership group, and the Bay Area. He should have just been fired like today, symbolically. Like, you've been eliminated, you're fired.
Well, I just want to say real quick, and I do ramble, so if I go too long, cut me off. But I want to say with Farhan, not only has he drafted incredibly poorly and developed even worse, I think the biggest indictment of the Farhan era is the amount of money. Like, if I was the Giants owner, the amount of money this guy has wasted on all of these C-tier free agents. Like, let's run through the list real quick. Let's run through Desclafani. You signed Desclafani for 3 years, $36 million. You signed Alex Wood for 2 years, $24 million. You signed Stripling. You signed Manaya. You signed Soler. You signed Conforto. You signed Haniger, the funniest one of them all. You wasted 3 years, $36 million on Taylor Rogers to pitch once a week in the 6th inning. You gave Luke Jackson 2 years, $12 million. Like, has anyone done the math and figured out if there's ever been a worse run of free agent spending than what this guy's done? I've never seen any GM be this bad at free agency ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's because he can't sign the big guys, and
if you can't sign the big guys, you need to go with the young guys.
Exactly.
Not what he does, retread veterans.
He goes after guys that come to San Francisco that haven't had much success playing every day somewhere else. They love coming here because they know they're going to get to play more because they ride the pine on their teams. But I mean, I wasn't against the Soler signing. I got to admit, I was for the Soler signing in the beginning. I thought it might work out.
I forgot Tommy LaStella, another good one.
Yeah. And I wasn't against the Snell signing. I was one of the ones that was critical of the Chapman signing because I thought you had Casey Schmidt, and I thought you drafted him for a reason because you said he was the next Matt Chapman. You said he was the Gold Glove. In fact, they mentioned it last night on the broadcast when he was playing great at third base. He says, very Chapman-like. That was my whole thing. I was never saying that Casey Schmidt is the next all-star player. We don't know if he can make it at the major league level as a full-time player, but you had the opportunity to play him last year.
Yeah.
And you had the opportunity.
You could have found out. Yeah. Now he's 25.
And now that was my issue because, a lot of times what teams will do is if they do have a chance to sign a star free agent and they have a star young player, they will let that star young player show his talent, and then they'll trade one. They'll trade him at high value. But the Giants do it the opposite way. They drive down the value where they can't get much.
Well, think about this. Think about what you could have got for Luciano, like, say, 2 years ago.
Right.
You could have got you probably could have got Luis Robert 2 years ago. You could have got, or a player of that caliber.
Right.
But now you can't. You could get a crackerback Jackbox for Luciano. Like that's like what they didn't. That's the one thing. Say what you will about the mistakes Sabian and Evans made. Like, yeah, in hindsight, the Wheeler trade hurts. The Reynolds trade hurts. But at least they had the cojones to try and make a trade. This guy hasn't traded anything. All he does is trade quad A guys with the Seattle retard. Like, what trade has this guy made? He hasn't even made a trade.
Right.
He traded Dubon for Papierski, and then they jettisoned Papierski after 2 weeks.
I know.
Dubon, I mean, he's not a star, but he's a valuable utility guy that can play center and second.
Right.
Why did you trade Dubon for Papierski? Like, what are you doing? Think about this. They traded actually, this is the worst trade of the Farhan era. And funnily enough that this name comes up now. They traded Prelander Baroa, who's still young. They traded him for Walton. They traded a high upside bullpen arm in Prelander Baroa, who throws 99 with a wipeout slider and he's got some command issues, but they traded Baroa for Donnie Walton. even 2 years ago, Donnie Walton was a 28-year-old AAA player. Who the hell does that? Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Because Farhan tries to fill holes like a fantasy football.
I mean, did he really think that when he was doing that trade? Oh, Walton's really undervalued. He's having a great season in Seattle's AAA team. Oh, we're gonna get him, and I'm gonna look like the smartest guy in the room. It's Mike Yastrzemski all over again. Like, is that what he thinks?
Who
knows? How do you, Farhan? How do you evaluate talent? Like, I mean, if they're gonna keep Farhan, they need to ban him from watching AAA games. Like, no, just don't watch any AAA games. You're not finding the next Muncie, dude. You're not finding the next Yaz. Lay off the waiver wire trash, you loser.
Yep. And I think DeBon was out of options as well. He did it to Bart. He did it. And he was going to do it to Ramos this year too. Ramos would be not on the Giants right now if Jung-Hoo Lee, Slater, and Conforto didn't get injured in the beginning of the season. I'm convinced he would have been traded.
Or DFA'd.
Yeah, I'm convinced.
Imagine if he had DFA'd Ramos. Like,
yeah.
This guy is so stupid, man. It's so funny. And he's doing it. Here's another thing, too. People have to remember this now. Like I was telling Lou, it's possible Luciano is a bust. Like I said, we are not seeing the same bat speed and power. And, there might even be some attitude issues. I don't know. Like, I don't want to comment on that. I'm not in the clubhouse. Maybe that's one of the things why he's not playing. Like, I try to give everyone some grace. Like, maybe there's an underlying reason why you play this horrible Donnie Walton over Luciano. But having said all that, Luciano, this is his second option season. So next year, if they don't trade Luciano, it's his final option season. So it's the final year that you can option him. So, like, here, they don't even have a position for him. How are we in the second option season of Luciano and you don't even know what position he's going to play? How does this happen? Like, this is tire fire development. Like, these people have no idea what they're doing.
No, they don't. They absolutely don't. What do you think of? What's your thought, Nick, of the next hire for president of baseball operations, assuming that Farhan is 98, 99% out the door?
I kind of like what I think Joe Shasky said it on his radio show either this morning or 2 days ago. I can't remember. I saw a Twitter clip of it where he mentioned, I totally agree with this. The Giants need their Jerry West. And so it doesn't so much matter like who is actually calling the shots as long as Farhan's gone, like the actual Poe. But you need like a Theo Epstein type where you have like a little committee at the top that is overseeing whoever. So even if you, like, let's say for sake of argument, they let Farhan go, and let's say they promote Putila, but with the caveat that you hire Epstein in a leadership / consultant role along with Posey and along with Dusty Baker, and you actually have some baseball guys around that are kind of overseeing it. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
So that's an option. But I also think you need to find some talent. And when I say talent, I mean scout development, guys in other organizations that know what they're doing. Because like every level of this organization has been so bad, whether it's development, coaching, scouting. So I do want them to clean house. Like Kyle Haynes, the farm director, he needs to go. Michael Holmes, the director of amateur scouting, needs to go.
Yep.
All of the other people.
I agree. My take on this, Nick, and I don't know if you've heard it or not, but I've shared it the last few days. And it's a plan that I think would work. And, Brian Sabian's still with the Yankees, still in the game, had great success with the Giants, knows the game, knows people, knows how to get the right people. Him and Ned Colletti working together with the sole purpose of turning the organization around and turning it over, kind of like what you said, getting a young person in. Let them do what they do. They know baseball. They know baseball people. They could hire the top scouts. They can hire the top player personnel directors, director of the farm. They can get all those type of people in place. And then they're not afraid to make deals, hence trading Matt Williams in 1997, as soon as he got hired. They know how to make trades, make those deals, train up the next person underneath them for 2 years, and hand the club over, and off they go. And they basically turn the direction because Ned Colletti knows the Dodgers as well as anybody. And both of those guys had great success at the top of running franchises. And they're great friends. They're best of friends. They would work well together. They worked great together for 8 years before Ned went to the Dodgers. Why not put that tandem together and bring them back? It was the glory days of the Giants. And let's get some excitement going, because the one thing I take out of when I've had interviews with Ned Colletti on the show is he talked about how him and Brian, after games, after losses, would be up walking Oracle Park or Candlestick Park before Oracle was built, walking and talking till 3 a.m, discussing how to make the team better. How can we win tomorrow's game? What do we got to do? Why did we lose? There's no way Farhan's doing that stuff with anybody. There's no way, because Ned and Brian hated to lose, and they had a burning passion to win, and they didn't take crap from people, and they were confident in what they did. Yes, they made mistakes. Yes, they made bad signings. Yes, they made bad trades, but who doesn't? But you know what? They weren't afraid to take the risk. And this Giants club will either go forward with the next person they hire, or they will stay in the doldrums and they will not compete for a playoff spot for the rest of this decade.
Yeah, I think another important thing, whoever it is, the goal needs to be, eventually, whether it's next year or if you want to take a longer term view, eventually the goal needs to be, we need to get up to the big boy stage with the Dodgers and we want to kick their ass. Like that.
Exactly.
And
you don't think Ned and Brian would love to do that?
As good as they are, and we respect them, and they got Ohtani and they got Betts and they're a juggernaut. The goal should be, screw you, we're coming for you, and we're going to kick your ass. None of this wild card crap anymore.
Exactly.
I'm so tired of this. Oh, if we had won this game, and if we had won, we would have been in the, yes. Dude, I'm so tired of wild card BS. This is the Giants.
Right.
The Giants.
Exactly. I know.
We're the Giants. We're not the Brewers. And in fact, actually, the Brewers would take exception to that at this point. They're much better run than us. So I apologize, Milwaukee.
It's too bad we took the GI out of the team, and we're no longer the Giants, but we're just the Ants.
Pretty much. As far as Colletti and Sabian, you would know better than me. It seems like Mr. Sabian was not happy after his contract expired and he went to go.
He wasn't, but I can tell you this, that I think if the Giants made the effort,
if they just reached out and said, "Hey, we screwed up. We
screwed up, man. You were we should have never let you go in the first place. We need you. We'd like to bring you and Ned back in the capacity what you did for us before. I'd
be okay with that if like you said, they are getting a little up there. So you would have to have they need to take on someone under their wing that's ready.
Oh, that's exactly it. That is the plan. That's part of the package. It's a three-way. It's a three-team. It's a three-horse race. It's Brian and Ned co-working together with the third person who's already, either somebody's assistant, whether that's Pete Patulea if he's the right guy, or if it's somebody like from the Tampa Bay organization who's a former scout. He's an assistant GM. I'm forgetting his name right now, but he has a great track record over in Tampa, signed a lot of guys. He was a scout, and now he's in their front office. Someone along that lines, but somebody that would work right underneath them, the three of them, and it would be them basically running the show, but also training this person to take the role. It's a 2-year contract. That's it. And the job of Sabian and Coletti
could even be Patilla, honestly.
It could be Patilla. It could be Patilla. But if Patilla works underneath them, but they need somebody that is experienced at doing this, at winning.
Coletti, they need to take a macro view. I see what you're. Like I said, the macro view needs to be, we need to get this organization back to where the big boys are.
Look, people go, Billy Martin was brought back by George Steinbrenner 3 times.
That's true.
Fired, brought back, fired, brought back, fired, brought back.
I think they need to get rid of Bear, though. Larry Bear.
Yeah, he's a problem. He's a problem.
Sabian, I can't speak to this. I've never talked to them, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but I would guess that Sabian, if he was going to come back, would want Bear gone or shuffled off to the side.
I would probably guess that. I don't know that for sure, but you might be right. Lou, you've got some thoughts on Sabian. I mean, not Sabian, but Larry Bear.
I think Larry, since the incident on opening day, which I believe was 7 years ago, hasn't been the same player. He, I don't know any president of a team that goes on KNBR and talks about doesn't talk about the team, season ticket holders, or anything. He talks about his $2 billion establishment behind the stadium. I don't think, he's been there a long time. People forget he's been there almost 30 years. So, if Larry could do the job, he thinks he's going to stay, but I think there needs to be a change throughout the Giants organization. I mean,
I think he does, Aaron.
Here's a question I have for Nick and Dan. Who do you think is going to have it better next year right now? Or who's more excited for next year? The Giants or the A's?
The A's.
The A's. The A's right now have a future. We don't have anything. They don't even have a ballpark. But trust me,
that's the thing. The A's
going now.
The A's went through a proper rebuild.
They're young. They're hungry. They have a great manager. They're going to go to Sacramento, and Oakland's going to miss out. But now they're going to be Sacramento's team, and they're probably going to have good success. They're going to make that ballpark to their advantage. And if you thought you were sick and tired of the beam with the Kings, if you're a Warriors fan, what are they going to come up with that up there? They're
going to be excited because you know what? Sacramento wants a full-time team, and they're going to put on a full-court press to try and impress Major League Baseball into saying, we could support a team here, and the Giants are going to be fighting that. And, something's going on within Major League Baseball that's giving the Giants too much clout. The Giants would rather push everybody out of their area and just be mediocre than actually compete. I wished, what I really wished would happen, would have been the best thing to happen for the Giants, would have been if Joe Lacob could have bought the A's and built a waterfront stadium and 40,000 seat waterfront stadium in Oakland, and the Oakland A's being like the Warriors, and all the energy going, that would force the Giants to actually spend money and say, we got to get better. Competition breeds success.
I mean, you got to remember the Giants got rid of their PA announcer over money. Yeah. Someone that's been there for 23 years.
Yeah, it's unbelievable what they've done. But well, Nick, been great having you on the show as always. Appreciate your thoughts, and don't be a stranger if you're able to come around. We love having you.
Yeah, I've been busy with work, but I think it's going to start to clear up, and then so I'm going to hope to be in the chat more often now.
Good.
But also the team was not like, it wasn't like driving me to get home earlier and talk, you know what I mean? Like this team is.
Oh yeah, I totally get that. No sense jumping. I mean, this isn't that exciting to talk Giants baseball, really.
But yeah, I should be in the chat a little more often, and we're all going to be watching pretty intently at the end of the season when hopefully Farhan's gone, and we'll see what they do with the direction of leadership. So
if they're smart, they should announce it the next day, Monday morning after the season's over. There's no need to wait. They should be interviewing.
They got rid of Kapler in the final series. I mean, why not do the same courtesy?
Yeah, maybe they should. Before
the end of the season, just say sayonara.
They should. And, I'm hoping they're talking to people right now. I hope it's not just they're going to just slip somebody in there. I hope they're, they could be reaching out. They should be reaching out to somebody who,
Well, I just want to say one last thing before I go. Everyone needs to put a little pressure on these dopey beat writers. Start hounding them on Twitter. Be respectful. Don't use language, but start demanding answers. They need to ask Melvin why the young guys aren't playing, and even the KNBR guys that get to interview Zaidi every other week. Like, there needs to be answers on why these horrible veterans like Canna and Donnie Walton and God knows who else are playing over the young guys who need evaluation, because the season is over. It has been over for a month. So why, these beat writers are so bad, man. The Slusser and Baggerly are fighting each other over who got the scoop. Who cares? You guys suck. Do your job and start getting answers.
They're paid by the Giants. That's why they're so biased. They're paid.
It's amazing to me.
But no, I agree with you. I agree.
If this were the Yankees, they would be hanging Farhan.
Yep.
Like
absolutely.
Same with Philadelphia.
Nobody cares. Like, it's crazy to me how these beat writers are just like, oh well, they underperformed. Like, no, do your job. Even I've been following this. Even the Angels, they got a guy on The Athletic. I think his name's Sam Bloom. He's a beat writer for the Angels on The Athletic. He is killing Artie Moreno and Perry Minasian and the awful things that they have done to the Angels. Wow. So there's no reason why the Giants can't get a beat writer or somebody, columnist, I don't care, somebody in the media that, gets a press pass, like, hold these people accountable. We need answers. If we see Donnie Walton again, it'll be 30 times too many. We need answers on why this is going on. And if it's Melvin, then you need to go too, dude. Like, if you're really, I don't care if Marco Luciano is the worst teammate of all time. I don't care. You're playing Donnie Walton over him. Get the hell out of here, dude.
Yep. Absolutely.
But that's it. Nick. Yeah, I'll hop off here. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. Have a good night, Nick. All right. There's Nick, as usual, coming up with some really good takes. And, it's we're coming down to the end, Lou. 9 games to go. 3 series left. And they're 2-1 on this 9-game stretch.
But Kansas City's a half game out of the wild card. They're going to be going all out. And Arizona is only a half game up, so they're going to be getting these other teams back.
I predicted a 2-7 trip, or 3-6, no better. We'll see how it plays out. Let's take a quick peek shall we, at those standings, because it is getting very interesting, as you said. You mentioned the Kansas City being, I didn't realize they were back out. That must have happened tonight. So here we are, the wild card standings. Oh, no, the Royals are okay.
But you see they're it's because Minnesota keeps losing. That's right.
Yeah, Minnesota's lost 2. So Detroit has caught the Twins.
Yeah.
Look at that. And the Mariners. You have a 4-team dogfight if you want to include the Royals in it for 2 spots.
Well, Seattle's still right there too.
That's what I mean. I'm counting them in.
Oh, you are? Okay.
You got Kansas City, the Twins, Tigers, and Mariners. 4 teams for 2 spots.
And KC gets the Giants. How lucky.
Yeah, it's kind of like the next best thing to the White Sox almost.
Yeah.
Dan,
before I forget, tonight with Ohtani's thing, they on MLB Network, they said he's already worth the $700 million they signed him for.
Oh, heck yeah. He was he's all the media from Japan that comes in and all the merchandise and the
did you see the ball the guy has? He says he could probably sell it double in Japan than here.
Wow, I would probably try and do that.
You never think about that, but yeah.
Yeah. 50-50. Unbelievable. Shohei Ohtani.
And we got him for 6 more years against us. How exciting.
6? Try 9.
Wasn't it a 7-year deal?
No, it was a 10-year deal.
Oh, 10-year deal. Oh, God.
Yeah.
At least next year we get to see him pitch against us, too, which is exciting.
Hey, look, he's exciting to watch. Yeah,
he's sort of like how Bonds was. And again, I know the chat might get upset at me, but this is all clean baseball. That's why it's so unique, 50-50.
Yeah.
Bonds, still has the asterisk. This is something you will probably never, ever see again. And here's the other thing. He's going to be MVP again. So that's 3 years of being MVP. And I think there's only been 3 guys that have been MVP in 2 different leagues. So it's a true superstar.
Frank Robinson was one. I know that with Cincinnati and Baltimore. So we look at the standings here. I want to see, it looks like, Baltimore's in, okay? Kansas City has the best shot of getting in of the other 4 teams because they're 2 up. And they got the Giants coming, but they still got to play a tough schedule, I think. The team that I'm hoping that gets in is the Detroit Tigers.
Of course.
That would be fun. They are on a roll. Did they play tonight or were they let me look. I thought they had the night off. Detroit. Yeah, they had no game today.
Oh, yeah, Detroit swept, took 3 out of 4 against the Royals.
Yeah.
So now they're home.
Let's take a look just for kicks and see what the Chicago White Sox record is. They're coming for you again, Lou. San Francisco Fire Department. Is that the Fire Department or the PD?
Yeah, Fire Department.
That sounded like fire, yeah. A little different. Okay. Let's take a look at the standings here. Let's take a look at overall. That would be fun. Overall, look at overall baseball. The Dodgers and Phillies are tied for the best record in baseball.
The Dodgers go to San Diego for 3
this weekend.
Nah, next week.
Okay, they're home. I think tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, Philly and LA battling for the top spot. The Brewers have fallen 3 back. So it looks like, again, it's going to be Dodgers 1, Phillies 2 is my prediction. Yankees and Guardians basically tied for the top spot, but it's the top 2. So they'll land there. San Diego only 4 out of the best record in baseball. Baltimore, the Mets, look how the Mets have climbed up.
Yeah, and they played Philly. Tonight they beat them first start of a 4-game series.
Wow. And then you got Atlanta, but they're not even in the playoff race, even though they've got the 8th record.
Yeah, but they host the Mets for 3 next week at home.
And then you got the Tigers. Look at that. But look at the Giants eliminated.
Big E. Hello, Big E.
They got the Big E. Texas doesn't have the Big E yet. Okay, everybody else has got the E. Look at the White Sox record. We are 4 games away from all-time futility. But I think,
their Mets total this year was 59.
Yeah, the Mets were 40 and 120 and 1. Somehow they had a tie game that year. So,
and do you remember what happened the next year?
The Mets, that was 1962. They lost 120. So I don't remember what they did in 63.
Oh, I thought it was 68.
No, that was 62. 69, they were the Miracle Mets.
But they had the worst record in baseball. I think they had 100 losses.
In 68?
Yeah.
I have to look.
Back to Miracle.
But look at the White Sox, 36 and 117, Lou. They have to lose 122, though, to have the all-time worst winning percentage in modern baseball.
I'll look up their schedule the last part of the season. That's always.
Yeah, they've got.
They're at home against the Angels.
Oh, they can beat the Angels.
How do you think the Angels feel losing Ohtani? But, Ohtani's now in the playoffs.
Yeah, he got what he found. Yeah. But let's just take a look at the National League wild card and get out of here. The National League wild card. There you go, guys. It's a.
So starting tomorrow, San Diego is home against the White Sox.
San Diego's home against the White Sox for 3?
Yeah.
Okay, then what does San Diego have after that?
They're off on Monday, and then Tuesday they go to LA for 3.
Okay, they go to LA for 3. So LA just basically needs to win one of those.
And then and then the Dodgers end at Coors Field.
Okay. All right, that should be, and then
so the Dodgers will win the division.
Yep, and then you've got who does the Mets have? Atlanta coming up, but who else? Who do they have this weekend? The Mets.
I will look at it right now. So the Mets go. Oh, they're at Philly.
Okay, whoa, and then they go to Atlanta for 3.
Then they go to Atlanta for 3.
And who do they close with? Probably Washington or something like that.
At Milwaukee.
Oh. Well, Milwaukee's probably going to be locked into that 3rd spot.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to line up their pitching staff because they'll be playing, 2-3 days after the season ends. So Milwaukee may not, unless Milwaukee goes on a 5-6 game winning streak here and can catch either the Dodgers or the Phillies, that may not mean much. But who do the Diamondbacks have? Who do the Diamondbacks have?
Let me take a look. And then Dan,
they got the Giants.
Yeah, they have. But who do they play before us? They play
this weekend, tomorrow.
Arizona. Oh, the Diamondbacks host San Diego.
Ooh. Wow.
Then they host the Giants.
Diamondbacks are going to try and catch them. They're only 2 behind them.
Yeah. And then, Dan, here's the other thing about this. Last month we said it. The Giants, again, are going to have a losing record against teams 500 and better.
Yeah. Yes.
And they're going to have to play and then here's the other thing. The last week of the season, the Giants are going to host the Cardinals, but I think the Cardinals at least want to be 500. So that series might be a little bit more to the Cardinals than the Giants. So,
the Giants are 75 and
the Cardinals are 77 and 76.
Cardinals, 77 and 76, and the Giants are 74 and 79. So 3 more losses, and the Giants are under 500 again. Yeah. And you can book those 3 losses. You got 6 games. You're facing 2 teams that are not only trying to position to get playoffs, but they're trying to fight to get in, make sure they get into the playoffs.
Mean everything.
Yeah. So these games are huge.
And there'll be a rocking crowd tomorrow at Kansas City.
Yeah, I would think the Giants win
1 of 5. If they lose tomorrow, they can get swept.
Yeah, I would think.
Who's going tomorrow? Roop?
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not even looking or caring. I would think the Giants win. They could win 3 more games.
They go against Waka tomorrow.
I mean, Giants could win 3 or 4 games. They're at 75. Wouldn't shock me if they got 4 wins out of the remaining 9, 4 and 5. I mean, they could beat St. Louis twice.
Tomorrow they go against Waka, who's 14-7, an ERA of 3.25, and we have Mason Black.
Yeah, you got Black, and then what? Roop and let me see. Let me just look. You got me. You're gonna get me here. Okay. Giants have tomorrow. Wait a minute. Okay, so Friday, you said who's tomorrow? Waka against Black?
Yeah.
Okay, Waka against Black. Saturday, it's Roop against Brady Singer, and Sunday
Snell against Lugo.
Snell, that should be a good matchup. And
Snell's then last performance of the year.
Then they play Monday in Arizona, which is Birdsong against Rodriguez. Tuesday, it's probably Webb. Yep, Webb against Brandon Fott. And then Wednesday, it's Mason Black and Zach Gallen. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Who cares? As long as, whatever. We'll see. I guess they're trying to do this late push to get to 500, right? I think they be shocked. 9 games to go. They're playing really 2 tough teams.
3 teams over 500. First 2 definitely need the games.
Yep. Yeah. So, Snell could give them a win. Webb, will give a battle. So we'll see. So, guys, thank you for joining here at NorCal Sports. Tomorrow night, Giants take on the Kansas City Royals. That game starts at what time? 5:10 our time. So we'll come on about 8 o'clock. Maybe 8:30. I've got a little a dinner I'm hosting tomorrow night. So I've got some friends coming over. So maybe if we don't get on here till 8:30-ish, I don't know. Depends on when they leave. I'm not going to push them out for the show. So
unless the news comes out tomorrow that Farhan is gone.
Oh boy, then I'll be in a pickle. Please, not tomorrow. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for joining NorCal Sports. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help the algorithms. Would be greatly appreciated. We would be very grateful if you would hit that. Hit that like and subscribe. Really helps push the show out. And thank you for being here. We're catch us tomorrow night. And don't forget to hit up the sponsors down there at the bottom. Take a note of the phone numbers. Forgot to run that earlier tonight. Secure Money, Dan Cochimilio Insurance Services, California, 888-960-SAFE, 960-7233. And Los, 925-250-4894. If you need a home loan, rates are coming down. All right. Again, give me a call if you need me, 888-960-7233 or Los at 925-250-4894. Thanks, Lou. Appreciate you being here again. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.